I
Big
understand.
crime day over here. I don't know what's been happening at you guys' houses, but I've been watching trials. I've been reading about trials. What would you do in this instance? By the way, are we rolling?
We are rolling.
Okay, good.
We can start the
One
show.
of these days, I'm going to do my Todd Beamer from 9/11. Let's roll. Um, if I said to you, I need to borrow your handgun, would you ask me why I needed to borrow your handgun? Would you say, well, do you need to finish a home improvement project with it? Do you need to complete some math homework? What do you need my handgun for? So this kid in Alabama, loans his handgun to a teammate and the teammate kills somebody. So I ask you, should those guys be playing?
No.
Of course not. And they not only played last night, but one of them scored 41 points, scored the basket that sent the game into overtime, won the game in overtime. And today, all the pundits can talk about is how he responded to the pressure of the South Carolina cheering section there in Columbia, shouting, lock him up and guilty as charged and that kind of thing. That the NBA will really be impressed with that, how he stood up to the pressure. Nothing about the person who was killed with his gun.
Yeah, but he's ready for the NBA now. I mean, come on.
Exactly. That's what they said. He'll be very attractive to the NBA now that they know he can handle that pressure. Nothing about the family in mourning, nothing about the person who was blown to bits by the gun he loved.
If he was a bench player, would he have been reprimanded a little more? Taking him.
I think with a bench player, even if you're number one in the country, you let the guy go. The appearances are too much.
I agree. I'm just saying.
Let's go back a couple of months to the University of Texas, where their head basketball coach was indicted for domestic violence and fired right away. Well, what happens in the past week? He doesn't want him charged. So he won't be going to jail, but he's out of a job. Now what do you do? So I guess their thinking is, well, it definitely happened. She just didn't want him charged. We're going to stick with the firing and his replacement going forward. By the way, I hate going forward. I don't know when we moved, from now on to going forward. It's the same thing, But that's the irony and the contradiction of it, if you ask me.
Of course. Any coaches, I feel like all the coaches that have been busted in some way always end up with the job the next year or wait a couple years and they're back at head coaching. I mean, college sports are just, I don't know, the worst.
Corruption.
Yeah.
The password is Pitino. Rick Pitino?
Petrino. Isn't there a Petrino? I think you just have to watch these. Or wasn't there a gosh, I want to say there was a code. Bobby Petrino. No, he rode a motorcycle, had the intern on the back. Do you remember that story?
You must be thinking of Patreon. Or Patron.
I like that.
No, I only know Rick Pitino, and I've said some harsh things the past couple of podcasts, but I won't tell you what Rick Pitino was up to all those years. Yeah, I give you this. I use it as a prop. It's your soft cheese. Thank you. So, and I meant to show you this. See if you. I wish they wouldn't advertise what this stuff is for. I don't, I can't imagine drugs with labels that say for cardiac arrhythmia or for let's see, some athlete today was suffering. I know who it was. DeGrom, the new pitcher for the Rangers, was confined to the bullpen because of side tightness. I can't imagine a drug mentioning on the label side tightness. But check this out. What does that say to you? I mean,
erectile dysfunction.
How am I supposed to feel? I'm like in the position of the teenager back in the day. Oh, I only read the articles in Playboy. I don't, I don't look at the pictures. I use this for what is called, what's it called? BPH, benign prostatic, something that begins with an H. I can't pronounce the H word. But of the two major boner pills, this is the one with prostate therapy benefits, and it's the reason I take it. So I wish they wouldn't, misrepresent my my purpose for taking tadalafil, or as it's known on TV commercials and behind home plate, baseball game, outdoor advertising, Cialis.
Oh, Cialis. Go
I mean,
Cialis.
how's a kid supposed to grow up without the facts of life these days? Grow up in a typical childhood if they're advertising boner pills behind home plate and it picks it up on the center field camera, Major League Baseball coverage at the network level. I ask you.
Let's not badmouth this drug. They might become a future sponsor of the show.
True.
Well, that would be just fine, just so we, point out that it also has other benefits as well.
Yeah.
Now, if you open up this accordion-like paper of fine print, it says that if you need to, you can take 2, 4, 5 a day. Mike, a 30-day supply could just disappear in a week. I just do 1 a day, like 1 a day vitamins. They're the 1 a day vitamin for your prostate, tadalafil.
That's all you need.
I'm not getting paid a dime for this commercial announcement. By the way, I do have commercial announcements
Bobby's Pillbox.
to divide the segments on the fly.
All right.
Look at these notes. Look at these notes.
Are they on the Pierre pad?
Today it's the Pierre pad. Today is a 3-pager.
Good us.
There was a note on it. I kind of rewatched or saw where the screen froze yesterday, and it showed "No Country for Older Men." I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great one. I mean,
This is exactly what this is about. The fact that you have to scratch and claw at a certain age for drugs that will keep you alive.
Of course.
And my doctor right now is just a few years younger than me. You would think he would relate somehow, but no. The government, Social Security, the doctors, look, let's face it, Medicare patients are a pain in the ass. Medicare does not pay quickly and fully, and the other fancy schmancy employee-based insurance providers do. So Medicare patients like myself are tolerated at best, all right? No Country for Older Men. That's the name of that movie.
All right.
Let me get my hand on that boner pill. I'll show you a thing or three, Brad Newman. I saw a move yesterday by Brad that I think you would appreciate, and you might be able to accomplish this. You're young and fit enough to accomplish this. You face the wife, directly. She's right in front of you, okay?
One-on-one.
And you have very strong arms. I've seen your forearms. They're like Popeyes. The wife jumps up, and you hold her, one arm beneath each thigh, and face each other.
So straddling is involved.
But you're standing.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, just that right there, that calls for tremendous strength and athleticism.
Oh, Bob, but you always said women weaken legs.
That was Burgess Meredith and Rocky. But anyway, there is some other multitasking involved during that particular position that makes it especially impressive. I'm getting rid of some old notes from the previous podcast that I haven't used.
Okay. I don't know anybody who's been through the entire Kama Sutra position manual, but I'm guessing you gave it your best shot back in the day.
You know what? I think it was year before last. We went to recycle some sort of appliance and wound up out here in the boonies, some western suburb, across from a company whose title, I swear to God, was Kama Sutra.
Well.
And came home and Googled it.
Oh, you didn't darken their door.
No, I did not go. I did not go up to their door. Knock, knock, knock. Hi, I'm just coming here to ask you about your business.
You care to advertise on a podcast?
I don't know whether they're still in business. I assume they are. That kind of thing never goes out of business. but Googled it, and as it turns out, it is a toy company of that toy type variety.
Well,
And I wound up knowing someone in the Twin Cities who worked for them.
well, it's a
What are
small
the
world.
odds?
It's a small world after all.
What are the odds?
Yeah.
So as I was saying about the crime, I watched Alex Murdaugh from South Carolina admit to stealing from his clients, personal injury clients, quadriplegics that he stole millions from, but he didn't admit to the murders of his wife and son. And then there's the Alabama business with the basketball player. And then there's Harvey Weinstein got another 16 years today for his social circulations in Southern California. And then somebody else got a few more years. But slowly but surely they get their just desserts, and that's a good thing.
That's all you can ask.
I think.
Mhm.
And
It's all you can ask. Give them what
that's
they
all you
deserve.
can ask is for the justice to swing in the right direction.
Have you had any run-ins with the LAPD while you've been out there?
I've had one ticket, and it was in a Volkswagen Tiguan leaving the airport.
Oh, leaving
Nothing
the airport.
glamorous. Nothing the least bit glamorous. I was about 100 yards from a In-N-Out burger.
Was it a
I think
pickup
you would
or a
enjoy the
drop-off?
I think you would enjoy the In-N-Out drive-through.
I have in Vegas, that's for sure.
Oh, did you have a burger there?
Oh, they've moved it. It used to be on the other side of the highway. They've now moved it to the Strip. You can't beat that. It's the cheapest hamburger on the Strip I can see.
Fresh ingredients, nothing microwaved.
And a
Terrible French
smiling
fries.
staff.
Terrible French fries. Tastes like cardboard.
I agree. I only go with the burger.
This portion of the Bob and Kel CleverCast starring Kurt Mayer is brought to you by Uno Dos Tres in South Pasadena, your housewares headquarters. Whether it's a bread box or bigger than a bread box, but especially if it's a tray, come to Uno Dos Tres. Take the Orange Grove Boulevard exit off the 210. Tell them that the Bob and Kel CleverCast with Kurt Mayer sent you.
Uno dos trays. I got it now. Okay.
Yes.
Uno dos trays. That was
All of these are going to be puns. I want to warn you in case you're
Okay.
feeling a little thick after a day of work from home.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I have finished casting. I've followed up on your amazing idea. Don't ever think that you don't contribute behind the scenes to this presentation, because you do. And in front of the scenes also, because you're the one who suggested that I play Fred and you play Lamont in a new reboot, all Caucasian, except for Julio. Julio stays Hispanic. An all Caucasian reboot of Sanford and Son. Here's what I came up with. As we mentioned, I'm Fred, you are Lamont.
All right.
It's still a junkyard. Don't you think it should still be a junkyard?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're not going to go antique shop on the deal, so let's keep it junk.
Okay. Cousin Grady is played by my old Malibu neighbor, Dick Van Dyke.
How's he doing?
He
Remember,
just showed up
Grady-
on The Masked Singer. Did you know that?
He's 97 years old. His
I
wife
know.
is half his age.
Oh,
Yeah.
Good for him.
Let's see. Rollo is portrayed by none other than, drumroll please, Mr. Mickey Rourke.
he needs some work. So
Huh?
that's nice.
What do you
That's nice of
think?
him. Get him a role.
Julio, the only Hispanic in the all-Caucasian cast,
Okay.
is portrayed by the usual suspect. Who would you think? Who's the hot Hispanic actor these days?
Well, that's a good.
Not John Leguizamo.
Isai Morales.
No, that's a good idea. Not the guy from La Bamba.
Jimmy Smits.
No, a little
Oh,
old.
dang it. 0 for 3.
George Lopez.
Okay, that's yeah, I get it.
Don't you
now.
think it kind of writes itself?
No one says trashy like George.
And then for the coup de grace, creme de la creme, Aunt Esther will be portrayed. But this is really going to take some negotiations with an agent across the pond.
All right.
Picture Aunt Esther portrayed by Dom Judy Dent.
Oh, jeez. She can do anything. I thought you were gonna go big and go Meryl Streep or something, but I like the dame.
Fred
Dom.
Sanford, you old fish-eyed fool, you weasel-eyed heathen. If you say one more word, I'm going to unscrew your arm from your shoulder and beat your brains out with it.
There was a lot of violence in that show. He was always gonna.
That's actual Sanford and Son dialogue.
What was the five finger? He was always going to hit Lamont with his five finger. Oh, I can't remember the words.
Now, see, we have to change Gorilla Cookies, which was a Fred favorite. I'm, I'm going to take your face and make some Gorilla Cookies. See, that's a little too ethnic. What I suggest, he says, is in my voice, my regular, inside voice.
Yes.
Aunt Esther, I'm going to take your face and make some vanilla cookies. Vanilla, not gorilla.
Vanilla cookies.
Yeah.
It's very mild, but it makes sense.
It's a Caucasian reboot. It's supposed to be mild. It's supposed to be bland and milquetoast.
Okay. So how do you rephrase this one? Fred often said to Lamont, "How about five cross your lips?" How do you rephrase that one?
Lamont, how about five fingers along your jaw? A la Kurt, who was the Minnesota Twin recently who had to sit out because he had his jaw broken in an altercation? I forget who it was.
I forget the name too. It's just a young prospect. He's
Yeah.
a minor leaguer.
Young, dumb, and full of you know what.
Yeah.
But with Fred and Lamont, I'm not so much interested in the rivalry and the tough love there as I am of the rivalry between Fred and Aunt Esther, portrayed by an international resource,
No,
Dom Judy Dench.
I agree totally. Lamont, much like myself, the perfect straight man to Fred's hilarity and all sorts of humorous anecdotes.
I also came up with I should get this cleared up right away because I don't want any lawyers coming after me. Given what we chatted about regarding Laurie Stone's impressions of Dylan and Leonard Cohen in the previous podcast, I did not mean to imply that my hero and idol and the person who actually represents my childhood, my youth, my young adulthood is a pedo or a perv in any way. I just get the impression, you'll remember the anecdote I told about the woman I attempted to date who talked about a tryst when she was 18 and he was 41. I think there was a span in his life from, let's say, 62 to 97, where maybe Bob wasn't really front mind aware of a simple forward question, which goes like this: how old are you? He never asked anybody that. I just assumed that he assumed that, everybody's fair game, anything that moves when you're that big a star. And then along the way, perhaps there's a disagreement in the math. And before you know it, you have a reputation. But I'm not saying that he has one. I'm just, you recall I referred to allegations in the past couple of years that have since fallen by the wayside, and rightfully so.
This is like a newspaper correction, kind of, just
a retraction, like New York Times corrections. Yeah, I think some of those New York Times corrections should be collected in a book because some of them are pretty darn funny. The things that they get wrong, but that they fess up to. This is like the newspaper of record, man. It's worldwide, and they have all kinds of opportunities to screw up, and they seize on them, and then they come clean.
Yeah, what is it?
Come clean should be the,
act now and apologize later. Ask for forgiveness later.
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter. But yeah, what should the name of the podcast?
That something called "Come Clean" should be like a brand name for a soap or something. Maybe after familiarities in the shower or something.
Of course.
I have put together a top 10 list of people, not just women, who, if by law we all had to have a sex tape, including you and Kurt. If everyone in America had to have a sex tape, here are the people I would want to see in their sex tape. And they're not, ravishing beauties from the world of movies and TV. It's from many walks of life. So tell me what you think of this. Are you familiar with Michelle Goldberg of the New York Times, who appears every so often on MSNBC? Lovely person.
Not quite, but I'll take your word for it.
Her skin is like peach ice cream. It's just
Oh.
it's just alabaster. It's porcelain.
Alabaster skin.
Gorgeous woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's a little overweight, but I can.
That little picture
get
on
past
the little picture in her byline, is that what you're getting it from?
No, she appears on TV in the afternoon on MSNBC shows.
Oh, okay.
Abby Phillip of CNN, attractive African American anchor reporter. Perhaps you've seen her. She has her own weekend show.
So these aren't typical like fantasies.
See, that's why I said thank you for further explaining the bid. I appreciate it.
It's not Pamela Anderson. It's not.
He's not in there. No,
no Carmen Electra. No.
Two local weathercasters, Evelyn Taft at Channel 9 and Leslie Lopez, Channel 7. Leslie Lopez is so beautiful that when she is ill or on vacation, the person that they bring in as her substitute, who is also beautiful, I refer to as the ugly one.
Oh.
I don't know why that cracks me up. Mrs. Maisel, Rachel Brosnahan.
Oh.
Are you familiar with the marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
Yes. I've watched a few episodes. Yes, I have.
And the man she's off Broadway with right now in a play named Oscar Isaac. Are you familiar with him?
He was in. He's been in several movies right now.
Yeah,
Star Wars specifically. He's been in.
Wasn't he in a Coen Brothers movie about like a folk singer or something who has a cat? I forget.
Yes, that's right.
Oscar Isaac is so attractive. I would watch his sex tape. See what I'm saying?
That's fascinating.
Doesn't have to be a woman. Could be a man.
Could be a little bit of both. It doesn't matter.
Thank God there's no Rin Tin Tin or Lassie these days. I might want to watch you there.
I didn't know you were into that, but go for it, my friend.
There'd be a certain sameness in the positions employed, I have a feeling, but
one's been named after him.
I'm not going to discriminate. Governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer.
Oh.
Are you familiar with her?
The kidnapping. They were going to kidnap her.
Exactly.
Was that you?
No, it was. It was not.
Oh.
It was militia guys.
Okay.
It was like Proud Boy type guys.
All right.
Sheryl Sandberg, formerly of Facebook. Are you familiar with her?
Lean in.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think she's on the market. She lost her husband a few years ago. Unless she's remarried, she may be back on the market. I don't know. There's just something about her that I found wholesomely attractive.
A woman in power. Every female owner, leader, manager has read that book. I have not.
What do you think of this sex tape? Ivanka Trump.
Oh no.
But no Jared.
No Jared.
We don't want Jared in the frame anywhere. That would just ruin it.
Anyone else?
So maybe something from her college days, or maybe just Ivanka. I can't even say it. Maybe Ivanka Trump by herself. I don't care. I just think she's a very attractive woman, despite the fact that she's a Trump. And, I wouldn't mind observing what goes on behind closed doors.
Have you ever thought it was odd how her father tends to, talk about
absolutely.
Maybe
absolutely. He definitely lusts for his daughter. There's no doubt about that.
He wouldn't.
He says it, doesn't he? He as much as says it, doesn't he?
So if he was putting together a list, she might be on that. On the list.
And then the final one is a former Texas state representative who was in a documentary about this filibuster that they had back when reproductive rights was a big issue in Texas before the current edition of fascists. I was looking for the word there, took over. Her name is Wendy Davis. Are you familiar with Wendy Davis?
Wendy Davis. The name doesn't.
I would definitely I would definitely watch her sex tape. I doubt seriously that she has one. See, that's the thing about watching the sex tapes, even in your head,
Mm-hmm.
the prospects of people actually having one, being required to have one by law, are next to nothing,
I know, but your
almost
imagination is
nil.
so good.
I had a dream about you a couple of nights ago. I didn't tell you in the last podcast. I dreamed that while you were on vacation in the Dominican Republic,
Okay.
but that's next month. That's next month, isn't it?
Yeah, that's fine. Yes.
You're gonna you're gonna wish you'd never told me that. But it's
Uh-huh.
a fantastic dream, and I think you'll like it.
Okay.
Uh, you become during your vacation, and I can't describe the way this happens because it's a dream. They're exaggerated. They don't make sense, right?
Well, of course not.
You become the first popularly elected tourist president of the Dominican Republic, and the only white guy to do it too, I think. And you have to stay there for the rest of your life and enjoy the beautiful weather,
Well, I think that's
except
good.
except for the hurricanes. Yeah, it's
Um,
not nearly as gruesome as many of my dreams and nightmares. So you should consider that a compliment.
I
I
am.
think.
It's not in the other tape. It's not a fantasy sex tape, but it's right up there.
This portion of the Bob and Kel CleverCast starring Kurt Mayer brought to you by our Frother who art in heaven, serving your coffee supplies needs in Reseda and the San Fernando Valley since 1964. It doesn't have to be a milk frother. It could be a carafe or a bean grinder, but take how does this go? Take the Winnetka Avenue exit off the 101 and you're there. Our Frother who art in heaven. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
All right.
So can you
Back
see
to
that
the
I took
show.
can you see that I took the concept seriously about separating the segments with fake commercials? Kel's frozen. What's going on?
Uh-oh.
Isn't he frozen on your screen?
He's frozen my screen too. Just now.
Yeah.
All right,
Or he's punking us. He's just doing this like I'm doing right now.
yeah.
You know, my mouth is moving.
I'm sending him a
Let's
text.
just all be frozen. I wish I had you know what we need is a remote control that could unfreeze him. I was thinking today
Are we
that
okay?
there he is. Now he's back.
Are you back? Can you hear us?
I'm back. I've heard you the whole time, but you guys couldn't hear me at all.
No.
No, that's
Boy,
sad.
And
this
now
is
you're
going to be a highlight of today's edition of the podcast. Is you were frozen and we said all kinds of horrible shit about you,
The
and
only thing I
you
can
heard it
think
all.
of, I heard it all. The only thing I can think of, it's frozen here, so maybe things affect the wires and the fibers. I don't know.
Here's another question I have for both of you. Name, and this is a totally, I think, I don't know why I get hung up for this word. I did the last time too. Platonic. It's a platonic item, which is rare for me. The invention that has changed your life other than the cell phone. I mean, that goes without saying. What invention do you consider life-changing for you? Something that makes life easier, something that you can do easier now because of an inventor. What would it be?
Wow, that's a great question. Kurt,
And the reason this came to me was because today my coffee was not hot enough. I put it back in the microwave, and what did I do? I punched the add 30 seconds button.
Oh,
Add 30 seconds. Think of that.
yeah.
And then there's an add 1 minute. You could either punch the add 30-second button twice,
Yes.
or punch the add 1 minute button once.
Was there a 1.5 minute? Add 1.5.
There was not. No, after that,
Well,
you're SOL.
Well,
So the add 1 minute button got me to thinking, I wonder what the lads think of inventions that have changed their lives as coffee drinkers or as employees or as people who drive cars, that kind of thing.
Well, that's the thing. It's along the same lines as the phone because it's one of the apps on the phone, the GPS. I don't know how anybody can do anything without that because I don't carry a map. I haven't seen a map in probably 15 years. So Yeah,
You know
it's
where you're going, though. I don't understand why people who know where they're going, who've grown up in a major metropolitan area and have been traveling it before GPS,
yeah,
need a GPS.
that's true too. But I guess I want
Do
to
you
know
have
how
the Do you have the
fast.
camera? Do you have
Yes,
the camera that comes on when you go in reverse?
yes, that's there
Does that
too.
help you?
Yes. Not as much as some, but yeah, it's not bad to have. It's not an inconvenience.
What
Um,
about you, Kurt? What has helped you with your pump and stuff?
My portable hot tub.
Oh, nice. And it's a jacuzzi. You have jets.
It just has air bubbles, but it's I can move it in the basement during the winter. It's right next to me here. And during
Man,
summer, I can move it outside.
the first time
wow.
I took a hot tub, and it wasn't in California, it was in Minnesota. I said to the other people in the tub, there would be world peace if these world leaders who are so constantly pissed off over the least little thing would just do 20 minutes of tub every day.
Yeah.
It totally mellows you out, don't you think?
Oh yeah, it's a daily ritual for me.
Now, Kurt,
Good.
you move it indoors during the winter. I know a lot of people who keep them outside, so you can kind of have that mountainous, kind of air as you're sitting in a hot tub with the cold air around you. But you don't do that, huh?
Well, no, for one thing, it only runs on 110 volts, so it doesn't have it can't fight a Minnesota winter.
Oh,
It won't keep it warm in a Minnesota winter. That's why it has to be moved indoors.
Well, have you ever tried an infrared sauna? Any kind of enclosed room that is warm, but not water's not involved?
I haven't tried that, but I've seen these little solo things. They're made of kind of hard cloth. You zip yourself into it, and it's like a single person, and all your head is sticking out.
Yeah.
One of those things, a little portable sauna that you just sit in.
mm.
It's kind of, it looks
That sounds very Californian, actually.
yeah.
Well,
I haven't done that, and I want to do it.
Did you have any snow today, Bob?
uh, hold on just a second.
Dry as a bug. Look at that. Wow. The pool and everything.
We do have rain collecting on the trees, and it makes it very pretty after a nice rain, you know.
You s- you sound like a robot right now.
Mm.
But it is snowing in at the higher elevations and in other parts of the inland areas, you know.
Mm.
I got a blizzard warning on my screen on the dashboard.
I saw it too, and that's why I was thinking of you. But obviously,
Yeah.
I had no need to worry.
That
The other
makes sense to me.
inventions I made note of were soup you can eat with a fork. You familiar with that? Where you just squish and then you just microwave it and eat it with a fork. That was a big invention about 20 years ago. And then this is for my occasional bout of viral gastroenteritis. It's the Compazine suppository, but the less we say about that, the better. It's just a hellacious invention.
I heard of
Do
an
you recall the
invention.
time at KSTP when I had food poisoning
Oh,
from decoys in White Bear Lake, and I mentioned them on the air as giving me food poisoning, that the tuna was too close to the furnace,
okay.
and I'm sorry, the mayo was too close to the furnace, and they offered to pay my hospital bill.
Oh, well, that's nice of them.
In most markets, you know, that'll get a talk personality fired is when you blame a local merchant, a potential sponsor, for almost killing you. The I can't believe you didn't come up with this answer for the non-phone invention that has changed our lives.
Okay.
Let's see, where's mine? Just one moment.
Oh, he's up again. Boy, did you see that view when he got up? Boy, that's a lot of cleavage there.
Yes, I need
That might
I
be
need
called
some of this.
sexual harassment.
They would probably be so tacky to put the word man boobs on a label. Um, I looked this up today. We can credit all four of these people for this amazing invention. Nikola Tesla, you familiar with him? There's
Yes.
a rock group named after him, I think, and a
Yes.
car.
That's what they say.
The Muskmobile, Joseph Jackson, Robert Adler. Never heard of either of them, nor have I heard of Eugene Polley, Polley. Here's what they invented. Whenever I see this intense buffoon in the blue jacket approaching me on TV on behalf of Spectrum, whenever I see a dental implants commercial coming on, anything off-putting at that level, here's what I use. The invention that beat them all, that is the reason those four guys are flanking Jesus Christ right now. Two
Wow.
on one side, two on the other in the kingdom of heaven for eternity. The remote control.
I can tell you're proud of that one. That's a universal remote, isn't it?
Check this out. When the new system was put in a few months ago, we were told by the Geek Squad guy from Best Buy
Yeah.
that there is no such thing as a universal remote control anymore. They're not making them anymore.
Oh, wow.
The company that made them was called Logitech, and Logitech, just for whatever reason, decided to get out of the universal remote control business. You can get one if you have $1,200 to pay for it.
Ooh.
I would insist, as I did to the young man who approached me on the street the other day, that you spend that $1,200 on a night at the Pierre Hotel in New York, where you can steal their scratch pads and write your podcast notes.
Sounds
So
like a better investment.
are you saying that if
Yeah.
you have one, it's worth money now? Like
$1,200 to get
I have one
a
in the
unit.
basement. I know it's there somewhere in a box. I should unload that thing and sell it
You
online.
think it still works?
Oh, throw a battery in there. I'm sure it does.
With your current home entertainment center components, it would work. That's what you're saying.
I guess it doesn't hurt to try. I don't know.
Try it and please get back to me. I'd love to know,
All right, will
because I would pay $1,100 for it,
do.
just so I don't
Ooh.
have to pay. Just so I don't have to pay $1,200. So what we do is this controls the channels, and then another one over there controls the volume.
Oh,
What an education!
I don't like
I
that.
was having such a good time. The company's name is Logitech, Logitech. They made an excellent universal remote control. And then for whatever reason, they stopped making it. And I don't know why I'm not reading about this in the home electronics magazines, or just a newspaper story about it. But that's what's happening. You may have, even if it doesn't work, you have a collector's item of some sort.
Exactly.
So
We'll see. We'll see. I'll start digging.
a follow-up question for Kurt about his hot tub experience, or the bubbles, the sauna. Have you ever tried a sauna, like a tall infrared sauna the size of a phone booth?
Not that. I've just done the steam saunas.
Okay. And those come in what variety? Dry and wet, where you pour water on the rocks, or how does that go?
Yeah, actually, when I lived in Marquette, we lived in an apartment complex, and they had both a wet and a dry sauna. We tried
Yeah.
both of them, and yeah, one you were supposed to be liberal with pouring water on the rocks, and the other not so much.
The sign in ours says, no water on the rocks. This is a dry sauna.
Right.
My first experience with sauna was at the Maplewood, Minnesota YMCA, and I was held hostage to such banal conversations from other people. It was just horrible, and all they were doing was aches and pains. That's all it was. Well, you had to sit there. You had to listen to their aches and pains.
What did you expect at the Maplewood YMCA? Intelligent conversation.
It was a cheap sauna. I guess you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
So, but I think the sauna is the way to go. The sauna and the hot tub will mellow you out for the entire day, and I think it might even help Putin.
No.
Or it might someone less dangerous than Putin. It might help them. What's his name in Canada?
Pierre Trudeau.
Exactly, Jason Trudeau.
Jason Trudeau. Pierre, Gary.
I think
Gary
that's
Trudeau? Wasn't
I
Gary
think
Trudeau?
Jason is his son or grandson. I forget, but my sister thinks he's hot.
All women think he's hot. They want to move to Canada.
I did not know that. Okay. I think well, no, I haven't exhausted all my notes. Rihanna. It's been announced that Rihanna is going to be singing at the Oscars. And my position is she better be singing as opposed to what happened at the Super Bowl. I think that's a disgrace when
Yeah.
a singing star decides to lip sync to a worldwide audience. That's just so lazy and self-indulgent.
I heard, yeah, a lot of the older acts these days are using enhancers, like Kiss. The Kiss Gene
Yeah.
Simmons are up there using enhancers as they're doing their concerts. Like some speaker failed, and so you could hear that there was music pumped in. I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean, they are pushing 80 now.
But if you could still play your instruments, play them. Wouldn't that give you, a feeling of having worked for your money? I mean, she got up there with that microphone and she wasn't even subtle about it. She would drop the microphone and still be singing. That's when I knew that she was lip syncing. This isn't hullabaloo or shindig in the 60s. It's 2023, rich lady. Sing to me.
But she was balancing on those contraptions up in the air. I mean, that's
Oh, you know what? I should have qualified that statement. Unless actual singing in public causes birth defects. Sing to me, rich lady.
What is
There's your YouTube short for the podcast, Kurt.
what's she
What was
doing at
that
the
like?
Oscars?
What was that like, by the way, putting the YouTube short together?
It's pretty straightforward to do. And yeah, we got a lot of hits, although the hits don't count as much as the full podcast because they're just scrollers. They're just scrolling.
Yeah.
And they
What are you thinking for price? About $19.95 per show? No, really. What in this day and time? What are people, relative nobodies such as I'll speak for myself, me, charging these days for podcasts?
I don't know. It's just basically what you can get. We're practicing the free market right now. Whatever they're willing to pay, we're at the whims of the free market.
Yeah. So, what would you think a starting price would be? $1.99 or something? Because I will pay for movies I've never seen before. Like on Prime Video, I'll pay $2, $5, whatever it is. Would you think that that's in the realm of possibility?
You'd think that would be fair, but it's not. That's not how it works. There's all these.
Can we focus group this? Can we show one of these to a room of strangers and say, "Okay, you've seen the best. Now let's talk about the rest." How much are we a bid for one of these? For one of these Carnival Barker exhibitions?
I mean, I'm kind of cheap myself. I only pay like $1 or $2 per month for the podcast that I really like.
And that's the thing, Bob. Somebody, no matter what price we put on it, somebody's going to find an end around to get it for free someplace. You know that on the black web or something.
I do know people who even today pirate cable.
It's crazy,
and I don't know how they do it. Did you notice that Netflix is what are they cracking down on password sharing? Is that the deal?
Yep.
I can't believe. Do you think they've lost a lot of money because of that?
Well, they've raised rates, and they figure that if for every other person who says I'm never going back to Netflix, there's going to be somebody who is going to. So they think that's going to even out. I don't know. They're playing the risk.
Well, when you guys come up with a price that will satisfy your financial bloodlust, you just go ahead and charge it, and I'll keep giving the same old free show, and you can split the booty, as far as I'm concerned.
As of right now, I'm posting it on Facebook, so for free. So if you guys tell me not to, I won't. But
we have hundreds of viewers, which reminds me, our viewer in Oklahoma has contacted me again, and I'm going to turn what she said into a sports wagering tip.
Okay.
He says that a woman named JC Hoyt, who coaches the how does it go? Oklahoma State women's basketball team, is in the conversation for the Big 12 Conference Coach of the Year. So if odds on that exist in Las Vegas, and people have a gambling account on their phone, and there's a futures, a wager to be made on JC Hoyt of Oklahoma State to go right ahead and do that, because our contact in Oklahoma seems to think she has a shot.
Now, my question is the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Did the women's team known as the Cowgirls?
I don't blame you for thinking that, because the number one team in the country plays in South Carolina.
Oh, no.
I shouldn't even have to say it.
No, you don't. That's enough said.
What are they called?
Well,
We know what the men are called.
Want.
We know what the men are called.
Yes.
What are the women? What is the women's side of that called?
Rhymes with. No, we won't do that.
It is weird though at football games when the national networks are there to see signs in the stands that say, go, go Cox, go. Go. It's just weird. I move that we adjourn for the week, and return refreshed and relaxed, as Ronald Reagan used to after his vacations, and do that next week with all new material and no old Pierre Hotel notes, and never the twain shall meet. That's my proposal before the quorum.
I'm kind of waiting for some recycled material to see if you ever decide to use something that you used 15 years ago and it just pops back in your head.
Well, we exchanged some correspondence today, and it occurred to me to inform you, and I guess inform everybody. I've been on the radio in 20 years. This is the show you might have gotten in the past 20 years that would have caused you to turn the dial even quicker than you did between the years 1985 and 2003,
Our memories have never been good.
I never did voices. Kel goes, you're doing voices now. And you're singing now.
Hey.
Since Burt Bacharach died, I've had him on the brain. There's this item in Florida about DeSantis taking over this college because he feels it's indoctrination. I don't know whether you've heard about this. It's called the New College. And I keep hearing Weird Al Yankovic sing, "Don't take me over just because you're the governor of Florida. Don't take me over." See, it's I don't know. It's just an all new me.
Exactly. That's what it is.
It's how people evolve over the 20 years that I was out of sight. It was
out of
fun
sight,
being
out of mind. Out of sight, out of his mind.
That actually should be the name of the podcast, the Out of Sight, Out of Mind cast. Well, let's get out of sight, and you guys have a great week, and we'll talk more about Kel's vacation in the Dominican Republic in March. Talk more about that next time.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Recording has concluded.